Well, it's happened. After 4 full days of speculation, trust me, my head was on a swivel of rumors flying in every which direction. Rodney Terry is out as head coach of UTEP and will now join forces with his good friend Chris Beard at Texas as an assistant coach. Quite the turn of events for a program that is El Paso's crown jewel, having your head coach step down to take an assistant job just a couple months after receiving a contract extension. And Terry made it clear in his statement via Twitter, this was about returning home to Austin and joining Beard at Texas. Terry was just 37 and 48 in 3 seasons at UTEP, and one could wonder if he felt like success under his leadership just wasn't possible in the next couple of years. UTEP will receive a $500,000 buyout from Texas. Director of Athletics Jim Sinner thanking Terry and released a statement as they begin to turn the page, turn the chapter. It reads in part, quotes, "We will begin a national search for our next basketball coach. Plans to utilize a search firm have not been determined. We will look forward to beginning a new chapter in our basketball program's storied legacy," end quote. KTSM 9's Colin Deaver joins us live from the Don Haskins Center. Colin, Center also saying they're not sure if they're going to use that search firm, like he said, for this hire, and their fan base is already calling for former players like Tim Hardaway, Greg Foster to get a shot at this. Big names, but perhaps not the right fit considering where Terry has left this program.
Yeah, just 12-12 last season was Rodney Terry's UTEP Miners. And for UTEP fans, I understand why you want Tim Hardaway or Greg Foster to come in and coach this program. But the fact remains, Tim Hardaway has never coached a game at the collegiate level. He does have a little bit of assistant coaching experience at the NBA level. Greg Foster has minimal collegiate coaching experience. He was an assistant with Tim Floyd a few years back at UTEP. And, of course, is now an assistant with the Indiana Pacers. So minimal coaching experience at the collegiate level for both of those guys, and you know it's something that you can't just replicate it. Coaching in the NBA obviously is the highest level, but you can't replicate the NBA what you have to do in college. And again, I get the pull for UTEP fans wanting these guys to come home, kind of a Juwan Howard type situation for UTEP, but it certainly just doesn't work everywhere, and I don't think that it's the best fit for UTEP.
As smart about basketball as someone like Greg Foster, a guy like Tim Hardaway is, and smart about UTEP, like running a college basketball program, I would say is 20% basketball and 80% college. Bringing a guy from the NBA, bringing someone with limited or no college basketball experience, to me is a risk. You've seen it, obviously we're going to talk about Juwan Howard, but a lot of failed ones. I mean, in Conference USA, Charlotte went with Mark Price, and that was an absolute disaster. So, look, it's not the route I would go by any means.
Yeah, that was Kevin Sweeney with Sports Illustrated there on the commentary. There are a couple of other names that UTEP fans are throwing out. One, Billy Gillespie. The other, Tony Barbee. Of course, Billy Gillespie in 2004 took UTEP to the NCAA tournament. Barbee took the Miners to the NCAA tournament in 2010. I understand why UTEP fans would want these guys to come back, but Andy, to me, it just doesn't seem like a viable option. You have to move forward. You can't look back in 2021 in college basketball.
All right, so Table Foster, Table Hardaway, who are a few legitimate candidates Center could consider, could call up in the next couple days to succeed Terry as the rumor mill. It just continues to turn and turn right now.
Yeah, I mean, that's going to be happening for the next couple of weeks. I can tell you that UTEP's going to want to move as quickly as possible, obviously with the NCAA transfer portal and everything going on in that regard. Players are going to be choosing schools. You don't want to get left behind in that regard. Therefore, you do want to bring in a coach as quickly as possible. Sources have been telling me that UTEP will be going hard at Joe Golding, and I think we do have a list of candidates that we can pull up. But Joe Golding from Abilene Christian University, he just beat Texas in the NCAA tournament. He would be, at least to me, the top candidate for UTEP. Number 2 on the list, Chris Jans. We have confirmed that UTEP has reached out and asked for permission for New Mexico State to interview Chris Jans and potentially come to UTEP and kind of spurn his rivals. Obviously, he would be able to take a little bit of a pay raise to come from UTEP from New Mexico State. Third on the list, Jerome Tang, a Baylor assistant coach who has been there since 2003 with Scott Drew and has really helped build that program from the ground up. Obviously, they just won the national championship game yesterday. Marvin Menzies, former New Mexico State and UNLV coach. coach. Andy, I know you've heard from people throughout the week that he could be a candidate for UTEP to hire. Of course, he was at Grand Canyon as an assistant in 2019, 2020, did not coach anywhere in 2021. And finally, the last name on my list, Kamani Young, who is a UConn associate head coach right now, former UTEP player in the 1990s, scored over 1,000 points in his career for the Miners. So if you're looking for a former UTEP player that could be maybe a more viable option than Tim Hardaway or Greg Foster, I think it's Kamani Young from UConn. But again, the rumor mill will continue, speculation will continue until Jim Stenner officially hires the new head coach of the UTEP Miners, who would be the 20th head coach in UTEP history. For now, at the Don Haskins Center, Colin Deaver, KTSM 9 Sports.